Oh, look, I'm an extremely bored psychic, mate, because unlike other cunts who think they're psychic, mate, I know I am not psychic. It's rather that all of our consciousness has many levels, some of which are conscious, some of which are unconscious, and some people become aware of the psychic level of activity in the consciousness. And they think they're being psychic because they're still. Anyway, we won't go into that. I can't help them too much, just in case some of those cunts watching this channel. See, I'm naughty psychic, is it? So I say rude words. No, I'm just Mother Nature, mate. There's a third way. Beyond good and evil. It's called the ultimate. It's what the Buddhists and the Hindus know, and real human beings know. And destroyed and deserted white working class, black working class, Westerners and shit like that know. They don't know they know it though. That's the infinite tragedy. They need to know they know it. But anyway, what was I fucking gonna say? I can't remember. Well, yeah, probably I'm just gonna tell you some psychic truths, mate. Because I'm bored. This boring existence. Nothing on the terrestrial British TV is not covering anything of real global significance. Probably the most shocking things going on right now are in America. I mean, what's happened in Gaza has devastated everyone with a heart in the world. Really devastated. And it was a complete and utter shock, but now we've got used to that shock. Yeah, the Jews who are persecuted by the fascists, the ethnic white nationalists, and destroyed and persecuted the Jews who went through that. Now we've got a scenario where a nation of Jews are turning Gaza, well, Palestine into a concentration camp. Now, what explains that reversal spiritually, karmically? Because the people who went through the Holocaust were so innocent. Excuse me, why do you relate the modern Jews to those people who died in the Holocaust innocently by ethnic nationalists? Now the Jews in Israel are the are whatever the ethnic nationalists. They're doing the same to the Palestinians. Now, what explains that enormous irony of history that you couldn't even make up? What explains that? Comma. Because the people who went through the Holocaust were, as all human beings feel instinctively, innocent. And it was the most shocking humanitarian atrocity we'd ever even heard of. The scale as well and the methods. It brought it to a scale we just found impossible to even compute, right? But the people, the generations after, a lot of them would have become really humanitarian, really truth seeking people. A lot of them they went all over the world, right? Lots of things happened to them, but a lot of them profited of their history in an egoistic way and associated the modern Jewish identity with the past. Now, they profited enormously. And that's why the West took so long to cotton on to how evil Israel was being, because they're so conditioned with the idea that they deserve infinite compensation. They don't think it's infinite, but it is ending up being infinite because they don't forget World War Two. And therefore, to them, it's always true. But if they lost World War Two, probably they'd be better at forgetting it. You see, so that again, the ancestors of those people who fought World War Two, the British and American, now claim this eternal their children and their grandchildren claim some kind of spiritual superiority over everyone else because of World War II, but it happened before they were born. So you see the insanity of it. So comically, now also obviously the undertoned slavery and segregation in America, slavery in Britain and America, and also the massive crime of the United Kingdom or Britain, really England, because really Scottish and Welsh and Northern Irish might not like this when I say it, but for all intents and purposes, Britain was an English colony, you know it, and whatever. But England really is. They spawned the most racist and industrialized and perverted nations in the world. America, South Africa, apartheid we had, America, Australia, let's kill everyone and all the same shit as I mean, obviously we shouldn't forget the Native Americans as well and the Aborigines. It was slightly different in Africa, but there was a lot of killing and persecution and dominating of ethnic tribes in the whole of Africa. And Britain was one of the early colonizers, but it gave birth to industrialization, which has destroyed the whole world and all its future. So all those cunts who say, I'm proud to be British, well, now they're they must be demented because Britain's falling apart. Nobody in Britain thinks Britain's a good place to live at all. Ask them. Ask them what's Britain like at the moment. They will all say shit, not doing well, all that shit. It's the truth. I know it doesn't come out in the news, but we're miserable society who knows we've got no future at the moment, right? We're now, and obviously, Americans been taken over by a demonic leader who's possessed by demons. Now, what happens when things die in the psyche of humanity is they burst into black flames of evil and violence. That's what's happening to Britain and America. That's bad karma. But I don't quite understand everything that's going on. And what really worries me is what happens to people in like Gaza. Because what happens to America and Britain and Europe, much of Europe, is more subtle than that because there's a lot of good people in every country, obviously. And what happens to South Africa and Africa, South America as well, I'm not sure. I'm very worried about everything like that. I don't know. But what's happening in the West is clearly karma. And what's happening in Israel is clearly karma. I could go on. But obviously, the Eastern dominance over the West is also karma. Do you know what I mean? All this shit. But no, I'm bored anyway. No, it can't be asked, mate. Right, we should tell you one more psychic thing. Well, it's apocalypse now. It's already ended. The unity and forces of progress and growth. By growth, I mean true growth, which is growth in meaning and understanding of life. That's the only true growth there is. It's in retreat. So actually, we're in an apocalyptic collapse already. But you don't see that because you see the inertia of a continuing social system that doesn't know what else to do, so it just carries on. You see that as carrying on. It's not carrying on. We don't know what else to do, so we just carry on mechanically through our social conditioning. But the evil, demonically possessed vampires have captured all developed Western nation states and is trying to divide them against each other and institute war of all against all. So they destroyed themselves. And all the vampires, economic, political, social, spiritual, every kind of vampire, cultural, they're all pillaging us for everything we got. The only survival is to escape back to nature. But in the UK, for example, there is no fucking nature, mate. So, it is becoming hell on earth. Most British and American people wouldn't deny that, at least in metaphorical sense, if not literal. So, but this is all karma. But are you British or are you appalled by everything that the system is? If you identify with Britain, you're carrying a big karmic baggage, mate. If you care about humanity and the world, the earth, the environment, then you never really left very far, Mother Nature. Not as far as everybody else did.